Hey everybody, my name is Bart Nolenberger and I am with Auto Mastery University. Who's Auto Mastery University? Well, I'm going to tell you right now. As a matter of fact, I believe that everything is about ROI, don't you? If you're going to hire a trainer, coach, leadership guru, whatever, you've got to get return. And one thing that we are so proud of is $1,000 per car, because that we do $1,000 per car increase at many of our stores that bring us in. And we'll talk about that in a second. Also, by the way, the average closing ratio on an incoming call nationwide, get this, is about what, 5%. Our stores that we train have anywhere from 18 to 30%. And we'll show you how we do that when you and I hook up. But you know what? Enough of that. Why AMU? Because I'm sitting here thinking, you guys don't know who I am. I've been in the business my whole life. I've traveled to dealerships, probably, 1,400 dealerships my whole life. My dad was a dealer. My grandfather was a car dealer. My mom was a car dealer. I started in dealerships when I was knee-high to a grasshopper, working in the parts department and in service. And then I started selling at a really young age. I got promoted to sales manager, finance manager. I then got my own used car dealership and had that for 6 years. I was a GM at the #2 dealership of its kind in the West. So my career is pretty diverse. I also have had a very diverse training background. And I decided when I was young, when I saw Tony Robbins, that I really wanted to get in the training side of business. So I went to work for a company called Half a Car, which at that time was the largest automobile sales training company in the world. And they focused on trade cycles. So we do trade cycle training that's state of the art. After that, though, I ended up going back to dealerships and I got some ideas and some best practices. And again, realized that training was the thing that drove me, that I loved more than anything else. But my brother always told me that if you're going to get in the business, be the best in the business that you can be. So I've always studied not only the business, and yes, I've studied aspects of the business, but I also have studied personal development. How can you and I be all we can be in the business? And that's been a big part of my career. I worked for University of Toyota, where I went around the country and trained on the one price principles that Scion had. That was a great experience. I worked for the largest automobile training company in the world, the largest automobile company in the world, training all over the country on how to present the first pencil, how to handle incoming and outgoing phone calls. And so I've had just, again, intense experience, and I've learned phones from some of the best, and I'm really proud of that. And yet here I am now with my own company. What do we offer? Well, we've got the most extensive steps to the sale probably anyone has. We've got a manual for it, digitally, hard copy. We can put it on a learning management system for you so you can watch it on videos if you like, and we're developing those for dealers. We have I think the best incoming call guide in the country, and it was developed by 10 car people and myself, and it's one incoming call guide that handles any call that a customer might have, instead of having 3 or 4 different ones. Also, we've developed some of the most extensive outbound call scripts that anyone could want. A script for every type of call. We've looked at every scenario and developed them, again, digitally in a hard copy, or we can do it on a learning management system, or we can come in your store, listen to calls together, and have your people and I listen to calls together. So I love to come in the store and grind it out with them, make calls, listen to calls, and coach on calls. See, what happens is when they hear their own call, we have a check sheet and they can check off how their call went. And what happens is it works from the inside out to change behavior. And it's a lot more powerful than me telling them something. And it's probably a lot more powerful than even role play for me to be in there with them, next to them, ask them the key questions, let them listen to it, and make shifts themselves. Like my dad said, a man convinced against his will is of the same opinion still. You and I have been in situations where we've tried to tell somebody something and it didn't stick. Well, we know that if we ask them with better questions, we can move the needle and move behavior. Tony Robbins says it best, the quality of our life is determined by the quality of our questions. One of the things that really drives me that I love to do, and that is training on first pencil. David Cryer is a friend of mine. He owns Guest Concepts, which is the first pencil desking solution. It's the best I've ever seen. And what we like to do is come into stores, train on that first pencil, and also how to close. And there are some unique characteristics to first pencil that make them the best, but there's also other desking solutions that we've trained on too with dealerships all over the country to help them get from here to there. We believe that if you do it right, 25% of the time the client will say yes right at that first pencil. But if not, we have a tool called the rules of transaction, or what we also call the laws of negotiation, where we present that to them and it increases gross about $1,000 a car. And how we do that, number one, we get them confident with presenting the numbers. And number two, we have a unique way to show them how to handle objections. And we've taken, again, the best practices from the top minds in this business from all over the country, and we're going to share those with you. But the thing that drives me, I think that gets me out of bed at 4 a.m, is leadership. Leadership and coaching. And they're actually two different things. Leadership, of course, is influence, nothing more, nothing less. But my business partner is a guy named John Maxwell. John Maxwell, of course, is the #1 leadership guru in the world. He's written over 80 books. And I've got content from him that we can do with masterminds, lunch and learns, sales meetings, one-on-one sessions, coaching sessions, webinars that we would love to share with you. It will definitely move the needle of your leadership. And here's the reality. I've been to a lot of stores. The best stores have the best leaders. It's just the way it is. When I go into dealerships and just train the salespeople, but leadership isn't part of it, it doesn't stick. Leadership has to be part of it. When they are, that's when the gross goes up and retention goes up and customer satisfaction goes way up. And I'd love to talk to you about that as we go ahead. So some of my clients in the past have included Longo Toyota, Galpin Ford, you all know who those people are, Hansel Group, which is in Northern California. I also currently have the #1 Ford store and the #2 Ford store in Northern California as my clients. And we train on first pencil with them over and over again. And that's why their gross has increased so dramatically. The #1, 2, or 3 Toyota dealership in Northern California. We just picked up a Southern California Toyota dealership. We in the past had the Phil Long Group, and including in that is the #1 Ford dealership in Denver. Our current clients include the #1 Chevrolet dealership in Colorado, the #1 online Highline dealership in the West, and also a couple huge dealerships in Phoenix that are part of dealer groups that I'm sure you've heard of before, including one dealership that sells over 300 used cars per month using First Pencil. We've got smaller stores too, but we've got some big ones there too that just seem to stick out and have really increased their numbers. So, hey, we'd love to help. Oh, by the way, did I tell you, we also hire? We've got a number of dealerships in town that have tapped into us to help them hire people. And part of hiring is we'll also train the people. So you've got people that are ready to go when they're hired. So hit us up. Appreciate you taking the time to watch this. We look forward to spending some time with you and to find out how we can meet your needs. Take care.